Yes. Hello. Hello, going south. I hope my microphone's on.
So that's the sound of the knocking of the club of the global climate movement. And you are welcome to this young leaders meeting. And my main co-host, my first co-host, Amos Kepler, what has been going on over these past 2 weeks?
Well, it's just as usual, more of the same, really. It's one thing that has happened on personal note is that I'm happy to report that my renowned portrait of Tony Blair and the subsequent blog article have become a major success on all social media with thousands of views. That was, I'm not sure I would call it unexpected, but still nice. Just wait till you see that portrait. It's magnificent.
Maybe you can drag it up into the jumbotron or something if you can find it. Right?
I had a trouble finding it still, really.
Right. Yeah.
So how do you do it?
You find it. You put down the arrow down, and then you search around for it, and then you say post it to the space some way. Anyway, while you figure that out, our second co-host, first time co-host, a long time follower, long time friend, Robert Redford, or whatever his last name is, Robert Redmayne Hofking.
That's it.
Take it away, Robert. What have you been observing over these dreadful days?
Yes, thank you, Going South, for inviting me as co-host in your excellent space, brother. And indeed, a big hello to all our guests here tonight. Amos, indeed, Amos Kepler. Abu, we have my brother T, Amara Gayafayo, and director with us as well. Indeed, Going South, my observations have been numerous and all-encompassing, as you might expect, brother. Most of my work in recent days has been involved in not just the Gaza Spaces, which you know I co-host with Alex on a Wednesday, but indeed human rights justice on a continuing basis for the Palestinian people in Gaza. I'm sure you know that a lot of my work over recent weeks has been dedicated to human rights justice for the Palestinian people in Gaza and Palestine as a whole, Gaza as a whole. We are now continually united, Going South, in what I call global human rights justice and the fight for it. Indeed, I talk about Gaza, but I also talk about the global plateau and indeed the global world stage platform of engaging in total and unilateral and unequivocal human rights justice for all. When I speak about climate and environmental collapse, of which most of my work over recent years has been absolutely dedicated to on this X platform, indeed all of it entwined with human rights justice. As you know me well enough, I think by now, Going South, to know we cannot have what I call a global stage platform of climate and environmental safeguarding and justice without human rights justice entwined within it in its entirety. My finger on the pulse, as it will, has been an all-encompassing one over the recent days, not just with human rights justice, but indeed sounding the sound bites of warnings that need to be told on the largest of scales, the continuing collapse indeed of our societies, and indeed everything within our systems. Because I have said so many times before that our societies are on the verge of mass, what I call global stage collapse. Every country and every system that is within our systems now that are governing everything as we know them on this planet are ripe for collapse, because we are being steered towards collapse on a daily basis by those in power that are indoctrinated with overconsumption, over excess, and the overtaking from nature in its entirety. It's that overtaking of everything within nature that is continuing on this path of what I call wide scale collapse. It's why whenever I listen to Amos, and indeed his words, his observations over the decades of what is happening with widespread, if I get my words, global collapse, it is indeed self-evident for anyone, as I can put it configuratively, to fully understand why we are where we are now. It is an obvious one. It's always been an obvious one. We have a world which is bursting at the seams with an overpopulation basis. I must say that because every context of every single system of which we are continuing to live under is straining at the beams, straining at the gills, straining at the edges. Not only do we have mass scale population indeed trying to live with the constraints of what is indeed the situation of the incessant what I call, if I need the right vocabulary for it, the incessant need to continue thinking that we can continue to take every last element of the Earth's resources and not think that we are going to get bitten severely for doing so. We are in the crisis of crisis on this planet, and we have been. It has been building for decades. It continues to build. It's a powder keg that has already been well lit and is alight. We need, indeed, I talk about degrowth. I have continued to talk about degrowth on this X Twitter stage platform, or should I say X platform, previously known as Twitter. And indeed, I will continue to do so because sound bites indeed are not nearly enough in order to put across the sheer scale of the levels of total and unequivocal annihilation of which we now face from country to country, community to community, person to person. Everyone is involved here. Everything is interlinked. Everything is relevant. Everything is indeed a function within a function, a mechanism within a mechanism. We need to indeed understand how to completely disconnect from the success growth syndrome of which we have been completely and utterly indoctrinated in for decades, because it is the success growth syndrome, this what we have, or what I call fairy tale unlimited economic growth, which is continuing to bring everything into total annihilation effect and collapse, and will continue to do so. Nature cannot continue to sustain or indeed be sustainable at any level with the sheer amount of taking that the human species is taking from her at every conceivable level, and will continue to do so. Something has to give. Indeed, the planet is doing so. We, at this moment in time, I know that everyone in the room already realizes these words I've already shared now, but they are on a platform stage that my words are also shared out of this room with many, many people across the board. And I hope that they will take on this information with clarity, dexterity, and understanding the seriousness of the situation for what it truly is. Because not understanding the dire situation for what we have and continue to have across this earth is going to cost not just millions of lives, but billions of lives, and will, make no mistake about it, change the very face of how us as a human species are able to not just conduct ourselves on a daily basis, but be able to survive and indeed be able to subsist at all on what I call the scraps and the leftovers of what continues to be being played out on this planet because of mankind's total inability to be able to understand what sustainability is for all the right ways and reasons. A balance indeed of sustainability, a balance of mindset. Yes, I grant you, it is all that as well. but it is a balance now of understanding that incessant economic growth is taking every last piece of nature and destroying it and annihilating it. And for what? At the end of the day, to annihilate ourselves, us as a human species. Because when the planet goes, we go as well with it. And we are continuing to understand and have to live the hard way through extreme weather events that continue to show us that a planet, let me remind everyone again, as if anyone needed to be reminded, that a planet hotter than it's been in 100,000 years takes no prisoners, and it will not continue to take any prisoners in the sheer scale of what is being dished out to us on a daily basis. We are seeing unprecedented levels of temperature record. Weather events that we can possibly imagine. And if we think that we've seen the worst of it, think again. We haven't even begun to see how far things will deteriorate at the hands of climate and environmental collapse. This is just a mere taster from Mother Nature, I promise you. This is nothing. Sorry, going south. You wanted to share something.
Hi, Robert. No, I would just like to butt in
Yeah,
because I
sure.
think the worst thing I heard about this past 2 weeks was this climate chat show for 2 hours on Sunday, and some very conservative or very, what do you call it, serious German scientists found out that it was actually quite plausible that in 2050 we would have 3 degrees Celsius warming from pre-industrial.
Yeah.
And that's that's way earlier than anyone thought before. And they used to say half a degree in 100 years or whatever. And these brain dead IPCC researchers have said that for 20, 30 years, that maybe 25 centimeter sea level rise in 100 years, right? Be very afraid. But now it's like in 2050, that's like 25 years from now, we will have passed all the tipping points for the climate, and those that are not yet passed, they will be passed before 2050. And that means that basically what it means is that everything we pretended we were doing didn't succeed, and everything that we still are pretending that we want to do, like carbon capture and storage, whatever, all of those things are also going to fail. And it's more or less like where do you want to live underground? So which cave are you going to live in? So it's kind of the end of the line for this. Oh yeah, it will only cost 1% of BNP, or this bullshit that's been spouted from Nobel Prize winners in economy, and it's they say that by 2100 it will only cost 3.5% of global GDP. All of this bullshit is out of the window now, because guess what? Reality came and bit us in the butt.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
The point is that civilization can't really continue. It's such a dangerous delusion that we can manage civilization and its immense destruction. We lived through the sixth great mass extinction event, for the goodness sake, really, and that isn't an unknown quantity either. I started seeing statements about this even in the establishment press, in mainstream media, as early as 20 years ago. So it isn't anything new. Everyone knows about it. At least every single decision maker knows about it. the brain dead, the loyal sheep, supporting the establishment stooks among the population. They might not know about it, but they don't want to know about it either. So it's civilization itself that must be spoken down, that must be attacked in verbal and any communication, really. Because we can't continue like we have. It isn't, we live in a major unsustainable inhuman society, really. So the solution really is to, we need to stop all kinds of war efforts, of course, because that's one of the very worst things that is happening. War is and military are the most destructive and polluting forces, both concerning CO2 and all other pollutants, really. And just when they are exercising, they are damaging, they are destroying countless square miles of real estate, or Earth's real estate, nature, and the waste, the wilderness, of course, and stuff. So what those people that want to continue civilization really support is a planet without life, a place where humanity commits collective suicide by extinguishing all other life forms, and thereby itself, really. That's the downright unpleasant but unavoidable truth. What must cease is the massive pressure against nature done by the modern human society, inhuman society, really. We need to protect habitats in massive ways. We need to treat wild animals pretty much like we treat ourselves, or even better than we are currently treating ourselves, because we are not treating ourselves either well at all these days. We are civilization is, in short, destroying everything making life worth living. That too, along with the sixth great mass extinction event, the knowledge of that, the certainty of that, should be enough to make people take notion. But they reject it. They reject totally that notion. They are convinced, or they are fooled themselves royally, that we can continue as we have for the last 50 years at least, or since the Industrial Revolution, even a revolution really, but it started long ago before that too. But I saw a map of Europe earlier today, where all the destruction, all the planning were illuminated in green. And the entire image were really coated in green. That's all the destruction that is happening right now, and everything planned for the next few years. The nature and life in general, life on Earth, is attacked, assaulted at every corner, every piece of Earth, really, including the Earth. So the colors of the Earth, even the colors of the Earth have changed the last 50 years. If you saw the first satellite photos of the Earth, it has had a lot more fresh color than today. And it's obvious, has become obvious, both in microspace and macrospace, really. So it's, I have it before me now. Every single destructive action is flashing in green, and the entire photo is flashing. So it isn't.
And of course, the overpopulation has a big deal to answer for here, because we are so goddamn many that we are making so much damage all over the place, right?
Of course.
And this the week that I was grossly what do you call it, triggered by this young Christian Democrat Party leader, the youth party leader to be, because she was drumming on and on about, oh, we are getting too few children, we are birthing too few babies. That's the biggest problem going forward to 2100. And I checked out her age; she was like 21, 22 something. So I checked out the years she went to school. I was thinking, did you learn nothing at school, though, about climate and ecology? And I got some pretty detailed, teaching plans back from the internet about what she had actually been learning at school, and even from within the school system, and from student pupil feedbacks and stuff. The criticism of that Norwegian school curriculum on climate and ecology was that no, it was mostly just about sorting your trash, recycling, that kind of stuff, right? So I accurately asked the AI, did they learn anything at all about catastrophic climate change during these 13 years in mandatory school? Nope, nothing. Just, it's getting a little warmer. Maybe the K at your cabin by the fjord is the water is going to get 20 centimeters higher. That kind of low ball, actually bullshit disinformation line taught to our newest candidates for society and for politics and for leadership. They come out there totally swept clean of any real information. And I will make the point, it's actually worse than if they learned nothing, because if they learned nothing, they would be curious when somebody said this is a big problem. But they have, on the contrary, they have learned at school, recently graduated from school. They've just learned that this shit is very, very slow moving, and it's very undramatic. It's, you better just focus on your wallet and getting a good job or whatever, right? So, and with that, I would like to hand the mic to our first non-host person, which is Artisans of the Spirit. What do you want to say, Artisan?
Oh my goodness. I thank you so much. I'm called Shadowfox, and I am an artisan of the spirit. What I would like to say, and I do know Robert, the one thing when we take a look, and I'd like to make a key point on what Going South was saying about what is being taught in the school systems for these young people. And this is why I'm kind of tying it into what Robert was saying, with us coming forward and actually speaking and presenting and saying, hey, listen, this stuff is not working, right? The young people of the time now, we can sit here and we can go around, we can see it, we can read about it, we can hear it, on how horrible the effects of climate change are. We can go round and round in circles about this. But the thing is that the young people, that if we can impress that it's literally, sorry, but it's going to be on their shoulders, because the older generations have totally screwed everything up. Even, come on, they start businesses, they're multi-corporations, and you think they really care what goes into our air and the water and so on and so forth. Even cars. So what about emissions? Who cares about that? Let's make a buck. So one of the things is, and I just found out just a little while ago, that Dr. Jane Goodall has just passed today. And she was, if for the young people, if you do not know who she is, look her up. She was a zoologist. She literally lived, she had an active voice with climate. I mean, she did so much work with the what is it, apes and all of that. She literally lived in their environment, for Pete's sakes. And they were, taking out trees in the forest, in the jungles. I mean, she was a great activist. And many of us are getting older, and we're going to be leaving this world. And you guys are going to be the ones. So I could make a suggestion as an elder to the young ones out there. What solutions can you bring to the table? We can go round and round, and where it stops, nobody knows. But yet, what's getting resolved? What solutions can we bring to the table so other people may get activated, may say, hey, you're right. This, do you know that we can grow hemp, and hemp for 1 acre can produce more paper than any tree, than a hectare of freaking trees could? And you get 3 crops a year or 4 crops a year or something. I don't quote me on how many the crop sizes, but look into it. These are the things. Here is a solution, right? Here is a solution. Okay, so then some of the major, industrial things may be coming at us. Okay, so then how can we could boycott certain things, right? Don't buy this product. Don't do that. I mean, come on, they did a thing on free speech and everybody was boycotting, Walt Disney. Our words do matter. Us as a group do matter. But we've got to get the young ones to be engaged and not just hearing how horrible life is. What are some solutions? I just gave one, just one, because right now we've got to have the young people as speakers to come up and say, if you didn't learn about it in school, then why don't you, open your ears for just a moment and hear what we have to say? Because nobody was here to own this planet. We are only stewards of it, and we've done a pretty shitty job. Thank you.
Thank
A
you,
very shitty
Arsten.
job
That was
indeed.
amazing. And if you want, just say so. If you want to come back to the mic, you're very welcome to.
Oh, thank you for that. I was having difficulty even getting into the space. I'd get in and then I couldn't hear and I'd have to back out. So I don't know how long my things are going to be and how long I can be in the room with you. But thank you for that. Thank you for the mic. And Robert does know me. So
I do.
thank
Yeah, and don't get me started on tech troubles, because I was on for 1 hour just to log into the Rumble studio, because we're restreaming to Rumble and YouTube this meeting, and that was just not possible. I had to go to Belgrade in Serbia to try and make the VPN connect to Rumble Studio, but I came back to Norway, so Norway was the safe haven for this episode. But even though it seems simple what we're doing here, sometimes it takes just 1 or a full hour to get the show up and running on the tech
Yeah,
side.
so I won't be. I'm not trying to be rude, but if I bow out, it's only because I'm losing the signal, and But
Yeah, we know it happens to a lot of people, and it's very rarely because they are angry and just left. It's mostly technical issues. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, indeed. If I'm going south, microphone, I will continue. As I take my hand down in order, artisans, yes, I do. We do know each other very well, artisans of the spirit. Love and appreciation to you, dear friend, always. Your points there, absolutely spot on. Every time I've heard you speak, artisans of the spirit, you are indeed at one with the universal understanding of the situation and what needs to be encompassed, indeed, solutions. I continue to talk about solutions indeed on this X platform. There are so many solutions that can now be categorically into place. Remember, as I've spoken about the public many times before, and gaining that all encompassing ability for the public to listen, understanding, and our young people too. Remember that the public are apathetic and comatose in their present state. They are sleepwalking oblivion at the moment, and they are only too happy to do it. There are many reasons which I have outlined with great dexterity and length over the course of time. I've no doubt I'll be continuing to outline with great dexterity again. Indeed, what I call the fundamental characteristics of minds that are not on board with the situation are to be understood when we understand why those minds have been so indoctrinated. Because remember here, my friends, we're talking about indoctrination of mindsets that have been very encompassing in their abilities to be so. We're talking about every single political aspect, every single leader aspect, every single government aspect, and every single system that continues to manipulate us as individual human beings in the outside world. That is why the indoctrination of not taking on board the realities of climate collapse is so encompassing. It is why, when we talk about our global young people and we talk about why they are not being taught not just the complete collapse of our climate, our systems, our democracies, and our ability to live and have any semblance of ability to be having a sustainable affiliations and the sustainable capabilities, all inducing, all prevalent within our lives. There are very good reasons for why our young people have been denied the truth. Remember, we have a media that has been denying the public every semblance of this emergency for as long as I can utter the words on the subject. Do always remember that the global media have failed the public hands down in every country. It continues to deny the public the facts. Is it any wonder our young people are denied the facts? Adults are sleepwalking and comatose, and indeed, adults are running the schools. If the adults are not engaged, they are not aware or being given the information that needs to be given to them to pass on to the children, for the children to learn. The adults are culpable in that disinformation. The adults are culpable in that syndrome of not educating children to the right ways of climate and environmental emergency. It can be turned around. I have said this so many times before, but it requires dexterity of mind. It requires an implementation learning on the grandest of scales. We cannot expect our young people to be able to learn about the climate and environmental emergency if the adults in the school are blatantly holding back the information from them. And it is part and parcel of the ongoing situation of why we now need, and I've said this so many times before, We need fundamental school guideline policies that teach climate and environmental emergency as a passage of right for all people. Every school, every community, every location, every college, every place of learning must now play its part in teaching those children, no matter what it takes. I've said this so many times before, and yet I'm bringing it back in the room. Yes, I'm only too happy and willing to do so, I promise you, because gets to more ears and more hearts and more minds for the right ways and the right reasons, that can only be to the greater good. Children have been denied the truth. We continue to push to make sure our children are not denied the availability of understanding what this climate environmental emergency is doing, not just for them today, but for all their tomorrows. My God, the pieces that our children are having to pick up because of adults, pardon my language, fucking up our entire systems and entire planetary system with the abuse that adults have shown this planet over indeed decade after decade after decade of gross negligence towards nature's entirety, gross negligence to the balance indeed of economies, gross negligence to every semblance of being able to have sustainable economies. Remember this. If we had had a balance of sustainable economies right back before we even knew what economies were going to be, and they had been indeed balanced from the very beginning, we would not have had this situation of having economies that decided to become totally and utterly out of control, too big, too grabbing, too indeed all encompassing nature's resources to the extent that it decided to wipe out nature. This is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a daily wipeout of nature. Children need to be taught this. They need to understand it. Nature is being wiped out and obliterated because of our incessant need to have unlimited economic growth at a cost to being able to live on our planet at all. We know the situations. We know the whys and the wheres. We understand, those of us in the room indeed, and listening out of it, why we are in the mess that we are in. Overpopulation, of course, on an earth that is not infinite. We are trying indeed desperately to continue to remove every last trace of those precious elements and minerals from our planet. We continue to think that we can have infinite resources on a finite planet. Infinite sources we do not have on this planet. We have finite resources. Once they are gone, they are gone. The problem is that we have 8+ billion people that are only too ready to indulge, as Amos has mentioned, collective suicide, yes, in its entirety. We are welcoming with open arms collective suicide. Remember this from figures and data that I regularly look at and peruse on this X platform from Mike Hudimer, of course, Climate Ben, and many of the other big data suppliers, climate scientists, of which I look at data day in, day out, as you would imagine. Professor Michael Mann, of course, and many of the other professors on this X platform of climate data. Indeed, another great friend of mine, the American NASA scientist, indeed, of which we know only too well of his tireless championing, indeed, of trying to awake a comatose public to the catastrophic events of the climate and environmental emergency. And we will continue to do whatever it takes to awaken a public that has lost its way. It's lost its way because it has been denied the truth. If you deny public on a wide scale audience the truth, you have that misinterpretation for misinformation, disinformation, and lies. I promise you that the public have been fed this like fodder for decades and decades. This is why when we continue to talk about why there are so many people across this planet that are failing to understand this emergency, what it is. It's because we have been indoctrinated to turn a blind eye to it, totally and utterly force-fed lies and propaganda, so that we do not take any of the situations which are all encompassing and taking away our very ability to live on this earth by the second. We are still not taking it seriously. Let me put it like this. We have entire communities now, their infrastructures disappearing underwater by the day. They aren't having to take the climate and environmental emergency seriously. It's pretty obvious, really, when everything that you have worked and indeed put hard effort and graft into has disappeared underwater and you have nothing left, no house, no nothing. You are forced to have to face the realities of what a climate emergency is. You have no choice because you have nothing left. This is the situation that is facing countless person after person, community after community. And the same goes for wildfires on this planet as well. We are seeing unprecedented records of temperatures that have not been seen the like of ever. Records that continue to be broken. I've seen all the data over this year. Alone of 2025, we have had record because of the heat that we have on this planet in the atmosphere. They are being fueled hotter and burning stronger because of climate collapse. And because those wildfires are burning hotter and stronger than we could have imagined, we are losing more of our infrastructures within our communities every time we have another massive one. And they are configuratively blanket covering our planet in its entirety. As your leaders, of course, will continue to lie through their back teeth, telling you that it is just the natural cause of events. As of course you would expect nothing less, would you? I certainly wouldn't. I know that leaders are fully encased in this jewel of denial, as I call it, and they are continuing to deliberately take us over the cliff because they are hell-bent on making sure that every last semblance of nature as we know it on this earth is destroyed. Every tree gone, every semblance of being able to grow crops, every semblance of being able to have a sustainable future within any community taken away and dashed because of that pure poison of economic greed and the lies, propaganda, and disinformation coming out of every government. Remember this, that I've said this many times before, that every government on earth that the public believe is on their side isn't. Every government that you think that is a government, actually it isn't. It's nothing more than a tentacle and branch of the extraction industry. And every single mouthpiece of every single political person on this planet, damn near enough, is nothing more than an extension of the oil industry mouthpieces to enable what you think is a government, which is actually an excuse, a foil for the oil industry to continue to pursue its ends until the last drop of oil, yes, I grant you, but the last ability for sustainable life on this earth after it's done its equivocal job of complete sixth mass extinction wipeout. I make no bones about the fact that every single particle of the systems that we live amongst on this earth are not in their current state on our side. Having said that, I'm going to take a vocal pause and give the microphone to you, artisans of the spirit. Welcome back, sister. What would you like to share with us?
Oh, thank you. I got bounced out. Yeah, Robert, as you were speaking, and like there's so many moving parts to this. And I just like to give a little heads up for the young ones that are in the room. And whether you spend a lot of time on, say, TikTok or Snapchat or whatever it is. A lot of information is coming your way to keep you engaged in all of those things that Robert was saying. And if you have, it's like a four, right? If you're aware of it, then maybe you can see it coming your way. But the majority of the young people are on this status quo, like the status, what status, who's going to what, buy, or who's going to be there, and then we got to be there because it's like this hero worship stuff. These are some of those mechanisms in gears that are really trying to distract you and keep you from recognizing that, guess what, the water that was in your drink, your mixed drink, is poison, right? The air that's in that thing is recycled so bad. When you come out, you're going to be coughing and hacking because you can't breathe. But make sure you go to that bar or that restaurant or that outing, okay? These are the things that, when you look at the larger scope, okay, of everything that Going South saying, and Robert and Amos, all of these things are intricate, very intricate. And it comes down from the mechanisms of the big corporations, those who have money, greed, and power. And the thing is that it is affecting every single one of us. Every time a tree is cut down, every time a forest is burned, every time those glaciers break off, wake up, wake up. Listen to the animals. Did you see all the animals heading out all together? Like bears, they don't kind of congregate together, but boy, oh boy, they were all using the major highways to exodus from Yellowstone. Yeah, I'm not making this up. They got filming on it. Why? Why are the animals leaving? Oh my. This may be something. I mean, take a look. You find something on TikTok or whatever platform that is. Why are they doing that? Who's saying what? Who's trying to give you those shiny little objects so you don't know who you are and the environment that you're living in? Everybody's going to do a distraction to make sure that you don't see what's going on in other parts of the world, or that this is flooding. Okay. Why is it flooding? And why are there these major storms coming this way or that way? This global climate, this is a part of us. What are we feeding into? Just become aware. That's all. I'm not here to preach. I'm not here to do anything other than, if you can recognize it, if you can see it unfolding before your eyes, you're not so easily led. You won't be led astray. You won't be misled. You're going to sit there and then you're going to go, wait a second. Oh, this ain't working. This is the old energy. This is the old way, the way old people used to do it, right? And I don't mind being called old. I'm older, but I've been awake for a very long time. And I've practiced what I speak about. Oh, yes, I do. And so with that, I am going to give the mic over. But Robert, thank you. And I'm just trying to give heads up where I can, in maybe a little different dimension. But we've got a lot of people that utilize the internet, right? In many different capacities. So until we don't have that ability, even with AI, so many people are speaking about AI, but yet do people recognize even part of what AI was even programmed for in the first place? I like AI. I've used it, but I refer and I would deter to my own AI, which is my angelic influence. That's where I get my information from. So recognize that not everything is your friend, and we have to use discernment. Just use discernment. That's all. Where's the hidden agenda? If you put it out there and you see a video or you see this, ask yourself, what's the hidden agenda? What's the bigger picture? What are they keeping my focus from? Oh my, because I guarantee you, if you don't have fresh, clean water to drink, if you don't have fresh air to breathe, and a stable environment to live in, oh, it'll affect you. And then by that time, it's going to be too late.
Yes, as we have established, every single act of every single human today is destroying the environment, really. Everyone just pointing at the wealthy people is doing it the wrong way, really. The wealthy people, those in charge, are doing more to destroy the earth than most others, but every single human on the planet, every single act we are doing is chipping away at our life and our chances, very chances of surviving, really. We should, of course, do something about it, but it isn't very likely that we are doing it. Like I keep saying, it's 100% certain now that humanity as a species won't do shit about any of this, any major problem we're doing. We need the total shift, total change of perception, really, for that to happen. So the only thing we can do is to start that network of totally autonomous communes, really, and start doing our own thing, independent of the power structure, about the pyramid and everything, really. I have to repeat myself, really. It's 100% certain that that current humanity as a species won't do anything to prevent climate change, to prevent extinction, to prevent anything destroying all life on Earth. I write about it in one of my novels, Phoenix Green Earth, how the Earth is just a ball, a dead ball, floating in space, really. I call it the world grinder. Everything precious on Earth is going through that grinder, that meat grinder in space, and out of the other side comes just plastic, concrete, glass, and metal, really. Everything we don't really need to survive, to live. On the contrary, it's fucking detrimental, extremely detrimental to human life, to life in general. Every single life form on Earth is under threat, including humans. It's just that we know about it, or should know about it. We are, again, committing collective suicide. And very few are speaking up against it. And those voices speaking up about it aren't heard in the public domain of current humanity at all. They are deliberately kept out. And it's that the children aren't taught anything about the vast dangers facing us is, of course, a part of that problem, that major thing coming from the top as well. Because we could we can change society, the inhuman society, into something vastly better in just a generation or two. If we had started teaching the children at school, taught them critical thinking, critical mindset for one thing, and the basics, the true basics about the situation we are facing. We are constantly
Amos,
facing.
can I take over now?
Yes, I believe so. I was pretty much finished. Yes.
Thank you. I just wanted to because this meeting is called Young Leaders Meeting, which is actually just a list of stupid meeting names I got from AI. So it's, you know, but it is what it is. So let's talk about it. Yeah, as I said, I was really shocked when I found out the curriculum for young people today in Norwegian schools, and I don't think any other country's school system is any better on that. Of course, we do have to mention a certain Swedish girl, young woman, Greta Thunberg. When I first heard her name 8 years ago, I found out she was following this very Going South account on Twitter. Back then it was Twitter, now it's X. So she was already following me before I knew who she was, right? So, but that's kind of just saying how extremely tiny this group of people who care about the climate is. And I want to go into that a bit because I've gone to school in Scandinavia. I've worked in Stockholm. I know the places she was sitting with her placard about school strike for climate. And I read about her as a person because a lot of people just hear about her as a concept, as some kind of conspiracy, blah blah blah, bullshit, right? So what she says between the lines, or if you really listen, is that every other girl in her class thought she was completely stupid. Why care about anything other than the next party or the last party last weekend? All the boys and girls thought she was daft, totally daft. This is sort of the misfit, and she's going there with her stupid poster, right? So don't fool yourselves and think that Sweden is sort of waking up to climate. These are individuals who got wedded to the cause, almost like, I guess, Amos and myself, maybe Robert, I guess, or and the artisan. Some of us get wedded to the cause in a deep way, right? But if you look at these other uh, young leaders, these people who are in the Christian Democratic Party, who are in the Greens, even, right? They're not wedded to the climate cause. They're not even wedded to the ecology cause. For them, climate ecology is, part of the box of chocolates, like the other pieces of chocolates, right? It's like identity, gender, blah blah blah, right? And it's what I'm trying to say is that for them, it's no problem to wage a 5-year war against Russia with just nuclear bombs, right? Because all the other cool kids and the grown-ups and their uncle says, "Ah, we gotta fight Russia." They don't care that the biggest affront to keeping a living Earth, a living biosphere, are wars, right? We destroy everything. You don't just destroy Ukrainians or Russians or drones. We destroy everything in that area, and you have downstream waterway problem systems, right? So you pollute the entire area. And Ukraine, for instance, used to be the breadbasket of Europe. Everybody learned about it in school. That was one of the big sort of safeguards that everybody had food to eat. Uh, it's completely crazy. You have young people who come out of schools in the richest countries in the world. They know nothing about ecology, direct from school, nothing about the climate, nothing about what could go wrong. right? What could go seriously wrong so there is no society for them or their kids in 20 years? Everything will collapse. They know nothing about even the potential for that. And they also don't know what's the problem with going to war against a superpower? How can that, what could go wrong, right? So I would like to try and get Sandy Environmental Coffee House up. I know we don't see eye to eye on everything, but you know I believe in getting um, all voices, hearing all voices, and having a conversation. But I'm not sure if you want to speak. If you do, I invite you now. Otherwise, you know, Robert, Amos, take it away.
Yeah, thanks, Going South. While we wait, hopefully, to bring Sandy up on the microphone, I certainly hope you can join us, grace us with some words, Sandy. Would be lovely to hear you. Thank you for being here as well, my friend. Indeed, I want to give a shout out for others I know very well. Gaia File, if I haven't already mentioned you, thank you for your presence here. It is appreciated. John as well. Thank you, brother, for taking the time to be here. And indeed, the people as well. Thank you again for being here. I wanted to put that shout out. It's important to recognize and send love and appreciation and thanks for ones I know very well. I just feel it's part of the unity process in our room spaces to say thank you for taking the time to be with us. That's my way, as many of you know, my way by now, probably. As indeed, yes, a few more words ever prevalent from me going south. I am certainly not vacant of communicative efforts in any capacity, as I'm sure you know, brother, by now. There is much to say, there is much to teach, there is much to share, there is much to be aware of, there is much to be understood, there is much to be gained by knowledge as we continue on this quest of trying to empower many hearts, minds, ears, and notions of just what is happening around us. I've said this too many times before. You'd have to be nearly unconscious, in my view, not to understand the sheer scale of collapse of which the climate emergency is putting on us every second of every day on this earth. I see so many people around me, as I know Amos, and you going south do, and many others in this space. I see so many in my personal daily life, I promise you, that know absolutely nothing or understand absolutely nothing of what is happening about this crisis. I find it a travesty. I will use that word. I find it very, very, how can I put this into the right vocabulary? I find it very difficult to comprehend that with the level of collapse that we have on this earth, that so many can be so ignorant. Yes, I have to use that word. It is a strong word, I know. But so many are ignorant to the level of collapse that is playing out on this planet, and I find it very wearying. It indeed is. Sorry to have to say, but also, having said that, we indeed, as people, do have that ability to not comprehend things, to not understand things, to not question things, to not analyze things. Because believe you me, without me having to broadcast it in this room space to us, the individuals who are wired up to understand the course and nature of events of what they are around us, but indeed I'm speaking configuratively out of the box, if you will, to all those listeners going south that are out of the room that we intend or try to attract on a daily basis for the greater good of educational understanding. And that's what we're talking about here. We're talking not just about our young people understanding, but we're talking about a moral, social, ethical, and a level of responsibility that is totally dexterous to the adults of our world as well. It needs to be put out there on the global stage platform. It needs to be, and I put this, it needs to be shared and it needs to be said as loudly as possible. My voice, indeed, as all of you know me too well, I'm sure, from my work on this X platform. I will continue to tell it like it is. I make no bones about the fact that I will not remain silent when levels of collapse are removing every single infrastructure in every single country. If you remain silent, you remain culpable, in my mind. So telling it like it is absolutely vital. But as I continue to say, it's the ways in which we continue to talk about this that will redefine the ability to get to the very core of every single person that we continue to talk to. I'm kidding you not. The way that we discuss the climate and environmental emergency, the way that we discuss the ecological crisis, the way that we discuss the events of which are not being put in place, the way that we do not discuss democracies indeed in the right ways, the way that we do not discuss the implementation of green policies for all is to our detriment, indeed not our detriment, us as individual citizens of this planet, but as a detriment to every single government that pretends to have the best interests of every single human being on this earth. Categorical collapse? Yes, it is assured under our present apocalyptic path. God knows I've said that often enough in the course of events. 416,000 posts on my platform alone dedicated to waking 8+ billion people up on the climate and environmental emergency. That's a lot of posts and a lot of different ways of configuratively discussing the situation with the clarity, the dexterity, the forcefulness, and the sincerity which it must. But having said that, there are always new ways every day, I promise you, everyone here, to be able to discuss this, not just amongst ourselves, but to the wider general public scale of things. We are walking that apocalyptic path. We all know that in this room, but it's getting people outside on a mass scale to know it, or where the real biting challenge continues to be at the root core of why we say and we do what we do day in, day out. We do not say all this for the fun of speaking, for the fun of just bantering around words that might sound loud and proud. We do it because we are on a mission. We are on a mission to educate people. Otherwise, why would we be here? We are on a mission to be able to turn mindsets around for the greater good of ecological, planetary, and environmental responsibility, not just for now, but for generations to come. We know that the road and the path that we walk is hard. We know it is devastatingly difficult. We know the challenges that we face on a day in, day out basis. We understand these challenges inside out and back to front, configured. But must
One thing is
yeah
important though. We haven't really spoken much about that. There is we need to face the optimism, quote unquote, in public spaces too. Some people are very almost scared of so-called negativity, quote unquote. They don't want people to tell the truth. Those in charge certainly don't want to, and not their stooges either. So there's no reason for optimism at all for the foreseeable future for humanity. I'm an optimist, really, about the human possibility of survival long term. But the next decade or so, that will be cataclysmic, really. There is, we shouldn't sugarcoat that at all. We are facing a bottleneck where just a few humans, figuratively speaking, will survive, will be able to return to nature, which should be the goal for every aware person, really. Of course, as I have to repeat myself again, it's entirely possible, probably at least, to do something about the dire situation we are finding ourselves in. But nothing is being done. Nothing will be done on a bigger scale, really. So we need to plan for the smaller scale, for the survival of groups, really. Almost, not just almost, all public discussion is so fucking counterproductive that it's almost unheard of, really. The propaganda is so very effective. If the leaders has not said it on television or similar, it isn't real. So holding back in public spaces should be totally out of the question, really. We just need to speak out and not be afraid to speak out against those who would be optimistic. I would turn it around, of course. We shouldn't shy negativity. We should shy optimism, really.
Hey, I'm sorry. I'm an optimist. Sorry to interrupt. I'm a bit confused. First with Robert. Second with you, Amos. I'm confused. Young leaders meeting. What are the supposed young leaders meeting about? Can you clarify that for me?
Going south? Can you clarify it, really? Going south? I guess it is. We have various titles for the meetings. So it's satire, really. If you ask me.
Oh wait, are you saying it's old people? Is that what you mean? Like me?
Oh no, it's
I'm
all
old.
kinds of stuff. It's
Oh,
all kinds of stuff.
We actually made it a topic of sorts this week, but basically it's just a bunch of stupid meeting titles that I got from Grok AI because we used to call the meetings board meeting of the global climate movement, right? But then I got 20 different bullshit meeting titles from Grok, and I applied them. But as I said, this time, for the first time, I guess, it kind of became a topic because I have done some research on young leaders of youth parties in Norway coming out of the 13-year school ladder with absolutely no knowledge about climate crisis or climate catastrophes. So
or
it
extinction
is
or
the
anything.
conversation specific to your country?
No, it's general.
Ik ken in Nederland gewoond. Ik ken in Nederlands praten. Heb je enige Nederlanders hier?
We do have a great lover of the Dutch people, which is myself.
Thank you.
I totally love Dutch people, and I can read Dutch, but I
You
cannot.
Americans, obviously.
I cannot speak or understand Dutch, but
well,
I can
you
read
could.
it.
You understood exactly what I said.
Yeah. I guess I did.
Yes, you spoke English, so we understood you. Absolutely.
No, I spoke Dutch. I'm sorry. And
you spoke Dutch and we understood it. That's amazing. That's for sure. I can speak. I can understand German. I've heard it's fairly similar, I guess. So
okay, just to get back to my original question, what is it that you would like to discuss here?
We are discussing extinction event, the climate change, anything related to the possible threats faced, major threats faced by current humanity. Really, we are also discussing very much how the lack of action is increasing the threats instead of elevating it. So
maybe a better question is, what do you want to discuss, Tas? Because we have a very open kind of structure for these conversations. It's kind of, it used to be, we've been going for 4 or 5 years on this podcast, and it used to be that only in hour 2 or 3 it became really interesting, because then people really got into the things that they wanted to talk about. So if you have a topic or something you want to lift, you're welcome to.
Yes, we are able to do many topics within the major topics.
I appreciate that offer. I was just scrolling through the like 2 or 3 chats that were open on my feed, and I was listening to each one of them. When I came to you guys, I just couldn't understand. And Robert, no offense, you just were talking so long about I mean everything, the whole. All of a sudden, we're in like the whole existence of the world, and I just was confused about what was going on. And Amos, God bless you. I can't speak your language for sure, and you can speak my language, but it takes you a very long time. It's like a very slow conversation, and I'm not really sure what the slow conversation is about. I didn't join because I want to make a conversation. I joined because I wanted to hear what you guys were discussing, and I couldn't figure it out. So that's why I requested to speak. I'm very sorry. I'll turn my mic off now. I'll turn my mic off now and let you guys work that out. Okay?
Confused, Tas? If you're confused, then you've been successful, because you should be confused. Tons of things that not even we know about, and that's why we need a conversation, and that's why we extend the invitation for you to take part in it. If you just want to be here as a listener, that's okay, but it's really about getting people together and talking about stuff. Okay? And I'm sorry to interrupt you, but sometimes you do need to butt in and say something, because you seem to only sort of evaluate us. And he's speaking slowly, and he's doing this and he's doing that.
Okay.
But you're welcome to speak, but not just sort of detract people. That's not needed, I think.
I don't want to detract. I do want to talk about something. How does the rest of the world view Donald Trump?
Okay, probably like a clown, really. Dangerous clown. They should be, at least. I don't think any American leader is a very good leader or stuff. He isn't that much worse than him and Biden are practical identical twins, for instance. So, but he is dangerous, like any American president, really. But perhaps he is slightly more dangerous, but he isn't compared to the other previous presidents. He isn't that much worse, really.
My take would be that if you grew up in Norway or Scandinavia as a progressive, as an activist, you and your friends would be hating on every single U.S. president ever since you came of age, right? Since you became a teenager. The strange thing that happened in 2016 was that every single mainstream media in Norway, in Scandinavia, they would hate on Donald Trump 24/7, and we were like, okay, so you just now figured out that U.S. presidents were bad. That's sort of what we've been doing all along. And directed to your question, I think some of the promises, you should never believe a politician's promises, but some of the promises from Trump in his three campaigns, they're along the lines of settling back to be a nation again and quit being an empire. And if he had gone through with those, people in Africa, Asia, Europe, South America might have liked him better, because when you're not living in the US, what you really care about the USA is how much trashing, how much bad behavior are they going to do in the rest of the world? Are they going to leave democracies to be democratic, or are they going to overthrow leaders that the people want in different countries? Are they going to start new wars? Are they going to make false flag sabotage of gas lines in the Baltic Sea? That kind of stuff. Are they going to, do all the shit that America has done always? So the big difference from living in America and seeing America from abroad is, are they going to invade Greenland? I live in Greenland, so that's kind of a question here. Of course, we have empathy with people who are thrown out of America or arrested in ICE raids or whatever. But to the question directly, the rest of the world cares more about the role America plays abroad, I guess.
Oh yes, they are a danger, a threat to the entire world, more than any other country. So we definitely care about that.
Can I just
Yeah.
I just want to tell you a little bit about myself for 1 second. Well, it might take a few more seconds. I was a young man when I graduated from college, and I joined the Peace Corps. I went to Africa and I lived there for 2 years. Peace Corps, look it up, whatever, nonprofit organization funded by the U.S. government to help people, achieve their dreams. So I went to Africa and lived there for 2 years and taught people not to shit in the road and build latrines and how to, collect rainwater and stuff like that. And then I came back to the United States and worked on HIV research with Dr. Fauci for about 10 years and then went in many different directions, but ended up in the Netherlands for about 10 years working for Johnson & Johnson on an anti-flu vaccine that was supposed to change the world. So I have a little bit of information about traveling the world. I've been to all of your countries, everyone here. I've been to all your countries. And I just want to say, sometimes there are people that just want to make the world better. And I don't know if you meet them very often, because right now in my life, I'm feeling like I'm not meeting them very often. I'm in the middle of a hellscape. This Trump world is fucking bullshit. That's all I got to say. Because I was brought up, love your neighbor kind of play. But this world is a very different world. I'll pause now. Thank you.
Yes, but as I said, Trump is just sorry. It's just one more distraction, really, for everyone. I concede that it's worse for the Americans, but he isn't any worse for the rest of the world. He is neither better nor worse. So he's a distraction. He's placed on the job, if you like, to make the Democratic Party look better. He's failing. That tactic is failing, fortunately. The Democratic Party.
Republican. He's not Democratic.
I know. I know American politics quite good. I've studied it for 25 years. I have traveled 150 countries, plus minus a few, worldwide for decades. It's easier for me to remember places or countries I haven't visited than those countries I have really visited. And I can see one thing: people don't see Americans as helpful at all when they come to their country. If they don't believe Americans when Americans claim to come to their country to help them, they mostly do the entire opposite. I guess there are exceptions, but I can't really remember anyone I have spoken to in those 150 countries I visited that see America, the United States of America, as a positive thing in the world. And that isn't just the last few years. It goes back decades, many decades even. United States of America has
I'm
been
sorry.
to war.
I need to.
Just one more moment. There have been United States of America has been to war almost every single year of its existence. And that is one of many things proving that United States of America, is a threat to the entire world. We have seen that recently, and we have seen it for many decades since United States inception, really. So Trump is just a detail in that, nothing more. He's
Okay. Are you done?
That's how we Norwegians, radical Norwegians, radical Europeans, radical Chinese, radical South Africans, if you like, and many others see it.
Okay. Can I talk?
Oh, absolutely, please.
Great. So in your vision of the whole world where the United States has just destroyed everything, can I ask you something? Has the United States done anything good, in your opinion? No, wait, I don't want an answer. Honestly, I don't want you to answer. It's a,
I can answer that.
It's a rhetorical question.
Because in 2009, Obama made the CO2 dangerous, and now Trump is removing the endangerment finding. Of course, nobody needed Obama to make it dangerous because it was dangerous in itself, and those kinds of things that a lot of people focus on are just superficial. We didn't need Obama to say it was dangerous. We would have had to deal with CO2 50 or 70 years ago. It's way too late to play this kind of ping pong with the CO2 molecule these days. but we're trying to focus on the climate or the
Extinction.
the eco-geopolitics of things. It's not about what you should vote next election, Tas. Do you live in Holland, by the way? Do you live in the Netherlands these days? Do you vote in the Netherlands?
No, no. I'm in Hawaii
No.
now.
Okay. Aloha.
Aloha, mahalo. First, I want to say I'm very sorry about the pain that you feel America has brought to you and your countries. I just want to point out that there are a lot of things that America has done right. And I know it took a long time for us to get there, but you would be speaking wrong if you thought of all Americans as being this evil force that was trying to hurt the rest of the world. There are so many of us, so many more millions of Americans voted against Trump. There was no landslide. He won in a weird fucking way. Okay? I don't want to talk about that, but I want you to understand America wants to heal the world. I don't know.
Sorry, we are not listening to that bullshit anymore. We are just don't listen to American propaganda. I have been to America. There are lots of
It's not American
nice
propaganda.
people.
It's
There
me.
are lots of good people there, but the government, just a few voted for Trump, but just as many voted for Biden, which is equally bad. So it's just not feasible. You're just one more brainwashed guy, really. So it's yes. You sounded like a propaganda movie or something.
I think Elvis has left the building. I just removed him from speaker, but I didn't throw him out. But I think he went. I think he left on his own
Actually,
devices. Sorry about that.
I will say to you, brother, that I actually removed him from the room for you, if that was all right.
Okay.
I muted him.
No problem.
I muted him, but then Robert removed him. That's poetry, man. That's really poetry.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what we call a pulverization of responsibility or something. Nobody knows who is doing it. So we're like the three-headed troll, right, in the mythology.
Absolutely.
Right.
and those doing executions, right? When they did executions in the old days, just one gun, one rifle had a bullet in it, right? So all the others had didn't. They had all the rifles sounded like they fired a bullet, but only one fired it. But as I said, I'm happy to take responsible for my action in this. It was a great pleasure to mute him. It was a great pleasure to mute that guy.
I can offer up an allegory because one of the big reasons that no northwest European country wants to be in the European Union. It's like UK, they left in the Brexit. Norway said no twice in referendums, and Iceland didn't join. Greenland was the first country in the world to leave the EU in 1985. And even Sweden and Denmark didn't get the euro coin, the euro banknotes and stuff. They kept their own currency. So one of the reasons that people in these sort of free and happy nations in the Northwest Atlantic, Northeast Atlantic, we don't want to be under Brussels, under the EU and Rome and France, etc., as well, is exactly because then the responsibility for doing something or having done something is pulverized, and the politicians can always say, no, that wasn't us, you know, it was Brussels, it was the EU doing that, and everything is sort of drowned in new layers of bureaucracy, and it's just impossible to get anything done. And the only thing they get done are stupid, fake green transition things, which are destroying the rest of the wilderness with wind turbines and, you know, solar factories where there used to be wild forests. Yeah, so the shorter way from the people to the leaders, so-called leaders, the better. But I think even that is a bad model these days, exactly because even the very young leaders who come right from the school bench, right from the pult, from the school desk, they are completely blank when it comes to the greatest challenges of humanity, right? So how can we? It's like they're saying shit out, shit in, shit out, right? You can't expect to get wonderful leaders out of that kind of
environment.
meat grinder that is the school, where they only train to win the previous war, right? The only thing they learn in school these days is that Nazis were bad, right? So big surprise, the Nazi party was not a good party. But we don't need that that lesson now. You know,
Well,
these days you need to you need to be equipped for the new challenges, for the new million people killers, right? Like hunger, starvation, societal collapse.
of course, that too.
But I do believe in so much in students and pupils that they are able to gather on their side hobbies, etc., reading books and stuff, that the Nazis were not the best of the people. But I don't think we should be the only thing you learn in school. That's sort of my point. Thanks.
One thing good about our American friend, he was an excellent illustration of what's wrong with current humanity, actually. So, he was totally immersed in the illusion of the masters of the world are weaving, are making. It was quite amazing. I knew where he was heading, really. Anyway, I just waited for him to become enraged, so I could just discard him. There was no point in keeping up the conversation with him because he was totally brainwashed. So that's the point, really. But we have to make conversation with the brainwashed anyway, sadly, of course.
And I would just
one thing about the Nazis, the Nazis first.
No, sorry. First, just a short message to Robert. Next time, don't throw him all the way out, right? He can just linger down in the listener swamp. I think that's the best way, because, you know, then he can think about his ways and come back if he wants to. Thank you.
He should be forced to listen, absolutely. If he could leave by himself, but the good thing is to mute him. Then he can't say anything, but he can still listen if he should choose to do so. But you shouldn't discard Nazis. We have seen lots of Nazis. A return to the Nazi in Europe and Western world the last 10 years. So you're correct, of course. The Nazis should be easily identifiable, and they are. But they are our current leaders. the current European leaders are Nazis. They aren't just like Nazis, they are Nazis. So that's make it even less possible that they will do anything about the extinction, about humanity faces, of course. So we have some job ahead of us, people, but it's a dirty job, but someone has to do it. And I don't lose that really got to our American friend, really. He, if you can recall, after I had done that angle, really. So it is strange in this world. People care about trifles. They don't care about truly important stuff. And we are at the gist of stuff. We are at the really bottom line here. I think they are fooled. They are trained to just care about trifles and not care about the important stuff. So we have to make them care about truly important stuff, like Greta Thunberg does. She anymore. She is proving herself every time she goes public with anything, and she has now Palestine to Gaza. I'm very concerned, to say it the least, about Gaza and Palestine as well. I have been a Palestinian as I have pointed out before, even if we should, by some miracle, solve climate change, we haven't solved anything. Because climate change is just one grave problems we are facing. The extinction is at least that is just as important, and the warmongers, the militarism, is equally so. And there are a couple of other issues as well. So the vast view, we need to see look at the whole and solve the whole, not just scrap a few.
Nope. So, Robert, you've been waiting patiently. Please give your take of the situation.
Yeah, thank you indeed. Going south. For the microphone again, brother, it is appreciated. Yeah, my take on the situation, as you can figuratively put it, is wide and vast, but indeed encompassing of all the elements. Indeed, Amos's words, they're absolutely spot on. You can indeed a dexterous challenge of, excuse me, I clear my voice, configuratively thinking. You can one prices, but excuse me, I'll clear my voice again. I apologize, but it to be to realize that there are many particles in parts of this climate and environmental emergency, which are all interlinked with one another and will continue, excuse me again, to be, no doubt it's so. Um, oh, Christ. Head of this climate and environmental emergency and will continue to be so. A total rethink and a retooling of every single element that we now configuratively live under to be, excuse me, guided and shaped for the right reasons. We are not doing that because the reasons we are not which they are governed at the moment is not fit for human consumption and not fit for us, excuse me, as humans. It's why we are failing hands down. You do not tackle one emergency by not fundamentally tackling all the ongoing emergencies, which I say shake us to the very core, excuse me, and will continue to do so unless we get a grip on the very fundamental core elements that are causing this. Of course, as Amos has said, the end of the day, to want to fundamentally get a grip with all these elements that need to be changed. Why? Because they upset the status quo, and upsetting the status quo of every country, every government, every politician, every policy, and every system, which is continuing to allow them to become trillionaires in their masses. From the country, we are up against fundamental roadblocks here, of which even the public are completely and utterly bewildered about. Is of a sustainable future for all the right ways and reasons. Policy control. Of course, we need a reworking of every single policy that's ever been thought up within every single system. How many times have I continued to say that over the course of the time I've been on this X platform? Well over 7.5 to that are also defunct. And those systems, within those systems, I think you get the understanding of where I'm trying to show you the comparisons here. Every single system we have that is within us, within our daily lives, is not fit for purpose. It is rancid. It is diseased. It is not on your side of the individual citizen, no matter where you live. Every single system that you are having governing you your family and your community is not fit for purpose. This is something I continue to have to share. It's like swings and roundabouts, but do you know what? It has to be said, because if it is not said, if it is not broadcast, then we situation. As he opened his mouth, I was in question of that, I can assure you. But having said that, we make allowances for the fact that there'll be many more Tazes entering the reality of the climate environmental emergency. I knew the man's grasp was non-existent when he mentioned the fact that I had been talking for a while. If he'd actually engaged his brain, which are playing out on this planet, which you do not speak about within a few simple sentences. You need to be able to have the dexterity for those things to be understood. And you need to be able to have the vocal intent and the vocal communication for them to be understood. And you need to be able to share them at length to be understood. Yes, of course, the individual elements of that individual are nothing new to me at all, not in the slightest. I've come across more individuals like that that are continue this quest, indeed, of not just using empty vessels of vocal ability, but indeed to actually talk fundamentally about the things that need to be changed here. Not just the generations of the decades, pardon my language, have absolutely fucked up every single ability for our children now that are growing up to have a sustainable future. Our children should already be so mad and so pissed with every single adult on this planet that they should be already rising up in their entirety, the children alone, and demanding why every single adult has completely robbed them of the existence to have a sustainable and future life. Every child semblance of balance or sustainability for future generations. It would be a very interesting conversation, I've no doubt, of millions and billions of children to be asking those questions. Indeed, mentioning, of course, about the brilliant Greta Thunberg starting a Fridays for Future revolution of children being actively engaged in talking about the climate emergency across this planet. My God, it needed to be engaged by somebody as dexterous and somebody as dedicated as Greta to passion, indeed, fighting for Palestinian futures, Gaza future, and that entire region with a global world stage audience on Greta's side, as always. My point being is this: human indeed the mode of emergency of which is completely and utterly lacking on a global world stage and continues to be even now when we talk about the climate and the environment and the ecological emergency. All these things are entwined, but of course, every single leader on the planet is dedicated to your destruction. We have on this planet and continues to be so. Because while they continue to be given free hand to take every last resource, of which they will do openly with a smile, we have to continue to watch the remains our I grant you on the fact that I have never ever said that this entire thing cannot be turned around. But I will tell you this, it can only be turned around if every single dedicated mental action is put there in the right ways, for the right reasons, that has absolutely nothing to do with more millionaires and indeed trillionaires for me existing on this earth, because that is exactly the poisonous and indeed totally encompassing elements that have brought this entire planet and every single human being and the ecological landscape to its knees, and continues of the human species' downfall. Doesn't have to be. You know that as well as I do. But indeed, while the systems are in play for what they are configuratively, by the day, taking away semblance of responsibility by the second. And the biggest fight back and say configuratively, we've had enough. Enough is enough. You are not going to do this to us anymore. Because this is one of the fundamental problems that we have on this planet. People to drag every single one of us, every single human being down into the gutter and indeed into the abyss. How many times have I said similar wordings of observations of so many different ways in so many different spaces about this subject at length? I've lost count how many times I have shared the views and opinions second by the day with the actions that are still being allowed. Indeed, they should be illegal. Yes, I grant you. There is so much that is in the systems that are continuing. All-encompassing hand of destruction. It is, of course, a fundamental bullet that is continuing to be bitten, if I can put it like that. And indeed, the emphasis the fundamental principles of indeed getting that knowledge to be taught to our young people in the right ways. It's still not being done. Look at it like this. Our young people go to school to and that is one of the greatest travesties, I still believe, of an ongoing nature that is being allowed across the board, community to community, country to I'm not talking about a turnaround here that we can have the leisurely concept of waiting decades to fundamentally, like some sort of drip change situation. If we want to be serious about educating our global young people, platform systems in every school, in every language, in every country, in every community, heart, not in the slightest, because I promise you that the effort and the determination that I've continued to always put indeed into trying to wake up an apathetic life to good going south. Indeed, our children's education demands that. There are so many that need this wake-up call. But instead, we continue to walk the
I would like to extend on the problem of young people and their lack of education is that not only are they taught nothing at all, taught, yeah, the thing I mentioned before, they're being taught that it's a slow and low seriousity kind of problem. In addition to that, they are actually being taught Daily Mail, whatever, Guardian, whatever, BBC, NRK, and the kind of the elders, the wise people, the philosophy professors, that kind of people, you should shun them. I was called a fascist just for bringing up the topic of overpopulation. even made the insight of a population a requirement for calling yourself a deep ecologist, right? So it wasn't a fringe topic in his teaching. It was the core, the very core of it. Members of the Green Party, they support the war, they support the bombing, they support the genocide, or maybe some of them are against one war but for the other war, right? Which doesn't make sense. And they activism, and they're kind of rudderless people without a compass, right? And that's all the schools are doing. So we've gone over the time. I think, Amos, do you want to?
I just had to sorry, it's late. No, we are taught everything, a lot of bad stuff, right? Everything's turned inside out, upside down, you name it. So, as I said, we have some task ahead of us. Feverish irrationality we should leave behind many yesterdays ago. So that's it, basically. Thank you. We were challenged, and because we learned something.
It was fun,
but
every good thing has to come to an end, and we need to save the space and upload it to the my co-hosts the link. Then you also contribute in sharing it to different platforms and stuff. And it was a great experience having you, Robert, for the first time as co-host, and I hope you would like to help us next time. I hope you can be part of the conversation, because we really need more perspectives to make it a good conversation. And with that, I will close the space. Thank you, everybody, and I hope you have a nice and peaceful
everybody.
Thanks.
Stay safe, everybody.